Hello, this is Raquel. Whoopsie. Echo, echo. Hi, this is Raquel with Paints and Glitter, and I am here today to talk about boxes. Specifically, the Christmas collection gift boxes from Tonic Studios. But I'm going to wait because I am here early. And I'm going to see if anyone joins me. So if you're rewatching this video, this is just to alert you to the fact that the Christmas collection gift boxes are made live, and I'm going to be sharing my link here. So hello, Missy, hi. I'm going to share my link here in a moment. So I'm only going to ask if you could please click on my link there. I'm trying to introduce anyone that's either new to my channel or been here for a while to the link tree that I now have to share my projects, and not only the projects, but of course share the affiliate links to the stores. And I'll be discussing that a little bit more as we go along, but I hope that you're having a good Monday. And I am here, as you can see, with these adorable little boxes, and hopefully you're seeing my screen okay. So I'm not going to assume that you can hear me well, so I'm just going to type really quickly here, just in case. And I noticed that sadly I don't have the replay of my chat on my live videos. So again, if you're rewatching this, just go ahead and forward through any parts that you find to be a little repetitive, because that's the nature of a live video. But doesn't bring the setup. Okay, I don't know what that means. Bear with me, I dropped a piece of paper. That doesn't bring the setup. So the die set doesn't bring the setup. I'm so sorry. I don't know if I'm just misunderstanding you, Missy. So the die set brings these three items here. I don't know if that's what you're referring to. But this is going to be live in just a couple of minutes on the US website. So I wanted to come along and be sure to share my link so that if you would like to shop, that you can get your hands on this. It's still not available just yet. No, it is not. Oh, thank you, Sharon, and welcome. Hi, Nolan. Thank you for being here. So feel free to share the live, of course. What I would like to do is to chat a little bit about these boxes and answer any questions. And thank you, Missy, for the questions. I've already got my first one. So that's a wonderful question. And ladies, Sharon and Nolan, I'm just asking that you please click on my link, and then you can come back. You don't have to use my links for shopping if you don't want to, but it does help me out if you click on them. So if you happen to want this, it's going to be live in just a couple of minutes on the US side. We've been waiting for them. I did already post a tutorial for the gingerbread box, and I posted a tutorial for the candy cane one. So today what I'm going to do is construct the little stocking one with you guys, okay? I'm going to keep it super simple though. So to answer your question, Missy, thank you so much. I truly appreciate you. To answer your question, what I did was that I used the pieces, which the instructions call for, using these solid pieces. So let me bring in the die set, which is across my room. Hold on one second. Oh, that's funny. I had a little reminder of my due date on that on a little post-it note here. So, okay. So for the boxes, all of them have the same style, which is, and thank you, Sharon, thank you so much, that you have a large die, right? That's your shape. The large one, regardless of if it's the large one for the candy cane, the gingerbread cookie, or the stocking, the large one, you only need to cut twice. So that's really cool that you can just, you know, assume the largest one, cut 2 times, unless you want to have your paper decorate all the way to the edge. All right. But this is the lid piece. Then you have a second piece. So the second one is going to be not only the base of your box, and I hope I'm in frame here. I have a delay, so I just always have to double check. So the next one, thank you, Missy, is going to be the base of your box. So if you like a nice sturdy box, 110 pound or 300 GSM is what I would recommend. That's what I use for the base and for the lid portion. Okay, now on one of these, which one is it? No, I don't have it. I no longer have that one. So this one you're going to cut out 4 times, and then you're going to use the smallest of them because they're graduated sizes, so there's 3 of each. The smallest one is what you're going to use in tandem with that second one, but only for 2 of them, and that's going to give you this little rim. So I'm going to show you once I open this that you have this little rim here. Now it's up to you if you want to cut those out of 110 pound card, or if you want to use whatever weight you like. You know, depends really, and the reason I say this is because all of us crafters have leftover paper laying around that we do nothing with, or we finish a project and all of a sudden we have these pieces of paper that we thought we were going to use, but you know how that goes. So if you happen to have pretty paper that you know you're not going to use for a different project, it's just going to go to waste, cut it out multiple times and then get your weight with that die, but just make sure that you cut into it with that other little die, right? So that way you get your little aperture. And that's why, you know, I say these things are kind of general rules of thumb, but you do what works for you. However, for a very substantial box, you want that base to be 110 pound. And then also the lid at least. And then for the sides, that's where I'm going to say, do not use your heavyweight card for that. I think the entire design team would agree with that you want to use your 80 pound card for the edges because of the fact that you need to mold that. If you've seen my other tutorials, you would have heard that from my mouth already. And I don't like to be redundant, but you know, this is a new video. So thank you so much, Missy. So again, today we're going to work on the little stocking because I didn't share that in my other videos. And I figured it was a great excuse to come here and do a live video. Yes, Missy, that's a wonderful question. The texture weave, and that's what you see here as the base of the lid and the box side. That's 80 pound weight, and that's the classic card from Tonic Studios. So all of the classic card is 80 pound weight. The other ones that vary in weight are going to be your smooth card, which is always that 300 GSM, or as we say here in the US, 110 pound. And then the other varieties of paper, for instance, are going to be different. For like today, we're going to be using this one, and this is from the candy cane, what's it called? Sorry, hold on one second. I keep confusing myself with the names. No, Candy Cane Christmas Collection. Yeah, that is what it's called. So this paper is a little bit thinner. However, it's double-sided. You guys have already seen it. So you're going to end up creating layers. And then again, depending on how you like to craft, you may be the type of crafter that likes to double or triple up the papers with, again, heavier paper behind it or anything like that. And that's going to depend on the style of crafting you prefer, but definitely make use of all the pretty things. I'm a big you know, proponent of use what you have, use it all, don't save anything. There's no reason to have stacks of paper that you're not using. So the texture, okay, so I already answered that. And here, by the way, for my little cookie, I wanted to have a gingerbread cookie that was, I guess, I don't know, not too much molasses. Whatever. For this one, it was just because I wanted to play with the pastels, right? So I created this one, this particular layer, with the gold cardstock from Tonic Studios. That's more of that vintagey gold. And please forgive me that I don't remember the names of these things because it's just too much for my brain to handle. But again, that's a gold card, and yet when it reads as a light brown or tan or whatever you want to call it. And then in here I did place the glitter. That's the leftover glitter from this piece here, because I did not want that to go to waste. I just placed it on the inside, and I think it's kind of funny looking, but it gave me a chuckle. And if I don't know, I can entertain myself in a padded room, but if it makes me smile, I go with it. All right, so this one here, by the way, as you can tell, you can make it into a shaker. And that's what I had done with the other candy cane in the tutorial as well. You can go about that more than one way, which brings me to mentioning that you can use these for card making. So you can, for instance, cut out this particular candy cane several times if you want to make a really large card, or just have a couple of them be flat on the surface of your card and then one of them be the shaker. And wouldn't that be adorable? So there's a lot of different ways that you can use these. And Sharon says, love the glitter. Oh, thank you. This is, these are little sequins, and what else did I put in there? Yeah, I know I put sequins in there, but I don't remember if I put any little beads. And it's not shaking a whole lot, but I figured who cares? So long as it looks like a shaker to me, I don't worry too much about that sort of thing. But the other thing that I did here was that I took advantage of diamond dots. So a lot of us have those laying about. I love to use them because that's the perfect little size for that sort of thing. So on certain little dots that are already on the paper, I went ahead and made those three-dimensional with the diamond dots, because one thing that always draws my eye to absolutely anything when I am shopping is texture. So when I pick something up, if it has a funky texture to it, I'm like, oh my gosh, how did they do this, right? It just draws your eye even more. And here on the side, speaking of texture, I used the 3D embossing folder, which I think is absolutely stunning. So that is just some satin card from Tonic Studios. Again, the paper may not be the heaviest or, you know, the shiniest or whatever, but it makes it a little more posh, if you will, to use that 3D embossing folder and just give it that little extra something that when you touch it, it's kind of like when you go shopping for a handbag, in my opinion. It's just fun. So, the other thing that I have here are the little accessories, of course, that you can use. There's that little holly and leaf, I think is darling. I love it. And then there's the little bow. Oh, and here I also use those little diamond dots, by the way. And then there's the tiny little bow that you can use on the cookie. You can use it however you like. But just to point out to you that there are two different size bows there. So just with that, you can definitely make some really cute projects. So I'm going to start gluing, because I should have been gluing and talking at the same time, but you know how it goes. So always have to have some sort of introduction. So Missy's saying satin card is your favorite. Definitely. It's such a luxurious type of paper. And I love it when a product makes you look good, right? It makes you look like you tried really hard. And that's why, for instance, I love the 3D embossing folders, because they add so much texture to anything that you're making. And speaking of texture, while I'm gluing these, because I don't want to put anyone to sleep, woohoo! I'm also trying to unclog my little glue here because I think I left it, yeah, I left it open overnight. And of course, we all know about this. Then it gives you a little bit of a hard time when you're first using it. But I do have the little needle that goes inside. There we go. So I tend to just put that little cap back on there, and it usually is enough. Yep, it is. Okay, so I was mentioning texture. The aside from the 3D embossing folders, you can do any kind of stamping or use any kind of shimmer powders that you may have. So for instance, you might have some paper that's green, but maybe that's not the color that you prefer to work with. We all have our tendencies, you know, the things that we lean toward when it comes to color, whatever we're comfortable with. But maybe you have a shimmer powder that you can then try to apply to that paper, and suddenly that green becomes more of a golden green. And that may be, you know, the thing that makes a difference in that particular project. So texture doesn't always have to be tactile. It can be visual texture, and that's what I was trying to explain there. So make use of the supplies that you have, and try never to go live with a glue bottle that you haven't already tested. I have more, so if it gets to be annoying, then I'll just switch out the bottle. All right, so for this particular box, you only need 3 of these strips, and that's both the wide strip that you see here and also the narrow. So that's another fun thing about this particular die set, is that it is not complicated at all to figure out what you need. Now, I love it when crafters tell me how many pieces of paper I might need for a project. So I am going to go ahead and say that if you make the entire base of this the same color, you're only going to need, I would say 3.5 pieces of A4 cardstock, or 8.5 by 11 cardstock. I think that's how I managed to make this one. And no, that's if both the top and the sides are the same weight. If you're using the different weight papers, then that's going to change, okay? But generally speaking, that's how many pieces of the base color, I'm just gonna say it that way, you would need. Now here, you want to train this paper to start folding over. So this is just a matter of very gently pushing on those little teeth, because if not, it may pull back later on. And of course, these are the types of things that in a live video might take a little bit longer, but I invite you to grab a cup of coffee or tea, and we can chat about crafting. And then I'm going to be talking to you guys about other releases from Tonic Studios that have been recent that I also recommend in case you did not get your hands on this set but have plans to create gifts for the Christmas season, because I think it is the best season of all, just like the song says. But I'm going to go ahead and apply these little thinner strips. And as you can see here, I'm not being elaborate because I'm only using this beautiful paper. Whereas with the other ones, as you can see, the die that is included allows you to have that beautiful stripe effect there. You know, the die cuts into the paper, creating all of those pretty little stripes. So the sky's the limit, right? And then that's another thing, for instance, if you just want to make a really basic card, I shouldn't say basic, but a simple card, go ahead and use those little strips and make a background. And then you could add just a little bow, and then that could be a Christmas card with a stamped sentiment. So you can make the card and the box for the same recipient and then have it all match because you've used the same die set, and it makes it a whole lot easier because you're not having to pull different die sets from your supplies. So I hope that this video gives you some ideas. That's the whole point, right? Trying to inspire you to use these items if you're going to grab them, and also encourage you to use my links because that's what helps support this particular channel. So of course I always appreciate it because it does help me bring you better content, and that's what I aspire to do. So I'm going to add, again, just these little strips together. Now you may notice that I'm allowing that other one time to dry, and that's really important when you're crafting 3D items. Give your items, you know, give your crafts the opportunity to dry. And this is not, the sides of this, these little tabs is not a place where I would apply adhesive tape. But if you're in a pinch, then a red line adhesive I think would work. So again, I'm just going to push these little tabs away. They remind me of little crocodile teeth, which again, if you're making a card, you can make a little crocodile card. Why not? It all depends on how you're looking at things, how you interpret them. Okay, so now I'm going to set this little guy aside, let that dry for a moment. And I'm going to check something really quickly here. Again, the US should have this, and I don't see it listed yet, but they should have it shortly if they don't already. Oops, sorry guys, if they don't already have it. And I'm now going to focus on these other pieces here. So I did place a little paper clip on that one. But what I've done is, let me see, I want to situate myself here. Okay, so I cut the largest one with that decorative paper. And as I had said before, it depends on how you want it to look. I cut it again, the smallest piece, which is the actual stocking image, right? Like this one here. I cut it out of the same collection of papers. I just flipped it over so that I would have that gingham on top, and then the layers can be this piece here. So I can choose whether I want to use just the entire piece and have that gingham popping out. If I want to pop it up with dimension, I could do that. Or I could cut away the little pieces here and have that gingham showing up from the background, which I think is probably the way that I want to use it, to make the green be kind of the center point there. But let's get this started first. So make sure your apertures, of course, match the bottom of the box. If they are larger, it means you use the wrong dies. But you definitely want that to work. Oh, it is. Thank you. Thank you, Missy. Because I wanted to make sure. Okay, bear with me 1 second. Yeah, I don't see it on my end. And I wonder, okay, I think I know exactly what I can do here. Just to make sure. And I'm looking. Guys, when you get into a frenzy of cutting paper, let me just tell you, things start to disappear. Okay, I found it. Awesome. All right. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and give everybody a direct link. So bear with me because I know that some people prefer that. And I was unable to do that before, but it'll only take me 1 moment. And there it is. So I'm going to come back to live, and where did we go? Right here. Okay. And thank you for telling me. So there's the direct link if anyone wants to use it. And then let me go ahead and add it over here because I had shared my link tree and I had encouraged you guys to click on that. So I'm going to appreciate your patience as I update this. Oh, it updated itself. Awesome. Okay. Sweet. All right, I'm back. Just a little housekeeping there that I had to do. Okay, so for this, what I'm going to do now, and I hope you guys were able to get a hold of these if you wanted them, because I think it's a great value. I have to say, just because you ordinarily would maybe buy 1 box die and then, you know, wonder, gee, I wonder if they're going to release something similar to this, you know, going forward. But the fact that Tonic decided to go ahead and do all 3 in 1, I think speaks of the value of what they commit to making. So here, as you can tell, I'm going to start using my little brain and walking this adhesive along the perimeter of this piece here. And that's because I'm going to try to make this easier on myself. And I don't worry about perfection when it comes to this sort of thing because it's going to be covered up. Okay, and this is just going to work in tandem with liquid adhesive also, okay? Now, this is the Craft Perfect tissue tape. I mentioned this in my other tutorials. This stuff is heavy duty. It looks unassuming, but let me tell you, I actually prefer it to the red line adhesive. That's how much I like it. And I hope I didn't freeze myself here. Can you guys, let me see here. I'm going to close out of these other windows. All right. Let's see here. My screen is frozen on my end. I want to make sure that you can see what I'm seeing. Because right now I'm applying adhesive to... Oh, okay, thank you, Sharon. Yeah, it's my end then. Silly computer. It always goofs me up, and then I don't know what you guys are able to see. And it causes panic. Every single time. But I'm trying to get around that, and no matter how many ways I try to do that, it doesn't matter. The minute that I kind of like, you know, virtually walk away from my screen, then on my end it looks like everything's frozen, and that's not good. All right, so that's as complicated as that's going to get. You also want to have one of these little guys prepped for what's going to be the base here. Okay, so what I like to do in this instance is reserve one for kind of covering up the yucky bits, and then the other one I'm actually going to flip and do the same thing here and apply the adhesive, because again it's going to help get a quicker tack on here when I start placing that strip all the way around. And I apologize that I didn't have this adhesive placed on here before. I had to managed some other things this morning. So this was the fastest that I could get anything cut out for this video. But I think it's worth understanding the process of what actually goes into making these items. Because the sped up videos, I think, are wonderful in terms of, you know, getting the gist of what you need to do. But it's these longer videos that actually give you a little bit more of an insight and also allow you to ask questions, of course. Okay, so I'm now going to remove this adhesive. And my recommendation is that you start, I mean, you can start at the bottom here if you want the seam to be down here. I don't think, let's see, how did I do the other one? Where is it? It's right here. Yep. So this is where I started it. So let me repeat that. I'm going to remove the adhesive backing here and start the application with the smooth end first. So that's going to be really important. Place your strip here, and then you can place the little stocking on top. And because we already trained those little teeth to kind of fold over, it makes it a little bit easier. And of course you can flip it over and check your work, right? And be sure that you're pushing those little pieces of paper right toward that edge. If it makes it easier for you to do it this way, then by all means, you can continue like this. All right. I like to kind of use the table as my third hand. I always say that, but it's the truth. And then hold on to your paper here and pull it to create the curve, then push the other paper onto it, so that you can get a good shape there, because this is going to shape back and forth depending on which edge you're facing of that little stocking. And of course, I like to go back and forth. It really depends on which part I'm working on. Remove that tape. Now, I did not use, I have to confess, I did not use 300 GSM for this base. But that's because I just wanted to cut out some paper quickly for this demo. And I can always go back and add another layer on the outside. So that's again another option. Okay, but definitely this outer strip, you want to make sure is the lighter weight. That 80 pound. Okay, so as you can see, it's a lot easier to shape that paper if it's not too thick. And I have my little floral box there, so it's kind of bumping into my paper. But I did want to mention that box from the kit before I let you guys go today, so that way I can show you some other little details about that one. So please let me know in the comments if you've already ordered this set, because I know that on the US side, we can order from the UK website as well. I'm curious to know if any of you guys just went ahead and took advantage of that and paid the difference. And by the way, if you didn't know about that, that's one perk of having the, you know, being a US customer, I suppose, for Tonic Studios, is that they've not limited us from shopping from their UK website. Other stores will do that. And because of laws, of course, they can't do the opposite. That's not really because they don't want to. That's just how it goes, you know, with the UK having a different system over there. All right, so again, I go back and forth, curve the paper as much as possible first. And don't be shy on that manipulation of the paper either, because you want it to fit all those nooks and crannies But as you can tell, I'm just applying pressure there on that edge. And then I'm almost done applying this particular side. I'm going to revisit this little portion here. And I didn't press too hard on it either, guys. And I did that on purpose because I want this to now kind of wedge in here, right inside. And that little tab is what I'm hoping matches up here, okay? Now, these are not fully adhered either, but I'm going to first adhere that little tab. I'm going to put my adhesive there. I'm going to line up my paper. And then I'm going to hold on to that. And while I'm holding this to dry, I'm going to take a peek at the chat. And okay, I see that I have 8 people, so I appreciate all 8 of you, whoever you are, because I only see Sharon, Missy, and no Lynn. So if there were any other people here, yay, Sharon! Woo, woo, woo! I wish I had, well, I can give you a happy face. Oh, what are these? I've never even looked at these before. All right, so I'm going to try to find some happy emojis for you. Woo-hoo. I don't have the fancy stuff, so I apologize. But there's some little hearts anyway. So again, I'm just holding that to dry. And now when I'm a little bit more comfortable with that, now I'm going to flip this over and then continue that little curve with what wasn't yet completely stuck there. And just kind of push that into place. All right. So if you saw, I kind of worked my way back from that center and then back to that little heel. All right. And now I'm going to take my paper creaser and I'm going to go to town applying pressure here to this paper. And that's why I was being gentle before. It's because I knew that I was going to go back and just reinforce everything with this first. Or last, I should say, really, because it's truly what's happening here. Okay, now you can, if you would like to, decorate the inside of this. That's up to you. If you have pretty paper, you want to go ahead and do that. Maybe stamp a little something. So Missy, the trick to it, I would say, is that you want to be the one manipulating the paper to tell it where to go. And basically, one thing that I've noticed, because of course I have to edit my videos, and when you do your editing, you realize that there are certain things that you repeat all the time. And one thing that I noticed was that I never let go of the paper. And I make, you guys, if you're familiar with this channel, you know how many boxes I make, right? It's like a box and then another box. So that's one thing I can say, is that don't let go of the paper. Hold on to that paper until it dries. I say that in my videos, I say it in my tutorials, and I think that sometimes people think I'm joking. But I'm not. I promise you, if I say hold on to that until it's dry, I mean it. It's going to make a big difference. For instance, the little corners, they want to poke away. That paper wants to pull away from the base, right? I revisit that little spot. I add another little drop of adhesive, and then I hold on to it. Because it's very much like fabric. It has a tendency to pull, and you see this little misshapen little item and you're like, how is that going to look like a finished piece? It's up to you to, you know, fold and bend and all that. So here's that other little piece. Remember we added adhesive to? That is going to go right inside of here. And we're going to very gingerly here find our little tail end of where our adhesive ended, right? The little strip. And then here you want to be careful you want to push the edge of that paper toward the little strip here, or aperture is truly what it's called. And it's going to be a little bit finicky. I'm not going to lie to you on that. But do your best because this is going to help retain that shape. All right. So, of course, this is why I recommended the dry adhesive also, because otherwise you're going to likely end up fighting with the wet adhesive and all that good stuff. And this is meant to be relaxing, not stressful. So there's always a solution to just about anything. So I'm doing the easy parts first. Whatever I find to be, okay, this kind of fell in naturally, then go ahead and do that. And then continue on pushing those little teeth toward that paper, because you don't want to bend this paper too much. The little aperture, it's best to push that outer wall of this little box and get that to conform, because then that's going to give you that pretty stocking shape. And just walk it, walk it, walk it. It's like putting socks on a toddler. So very easy. If you've ever done that. It's pretty much the same thing. And then you feel proud of yourself. Even if you have a sweaty brow and... I just got flashbacks. Not that my kids ever gave me too much of a hard time with that sort of thing, but... It's the visuals, people. It's the visuals. I like to give visuals. So as you can tell here, I'm still applying pressure from underneath and then pushing the outer edge there toward the aperture. And sometimes you have to slow down, take a breath, take a little sip of your coffee or tea. Tell yourself you can do it. All right, so I've got the majority of these guys cooperating, so I'm happy so far. I'm gonna take a sip of my drink here. And make sure that I'm in frame. Hopefully I have not been out of frame. And now I'm gonna remove the rest of this backing. And it's probably not 100% perfect, but that's okay. Have to, you know, exercise grace with yourself. All right, so I'm still pushing the edge. Now, as you guys know, what is today? Tuesday, right? Is it Monday or Tuesday? I think today's Monday. Yeah, today's Monday. Don't normally do a live video on a Monday, but I wanted to make sure that I came along and alerted anyone who didn't already know of the fact that these boxes were available, because I think they're just darling. And back in August, in fact, I was working on some of the projects for Tonic, and I remember saying back then, oh my gosh, there's some things coming down the line and I'm so excited. And, you know, and I shared that in a live video, and then the calendar changed a little bit, and I felt so bad because then I couldn't talk about what was happening or anything. So I figured, instead of announcing anything in my videos, I think I'm just going to stick to crafting in case anything happens. If there's any last minute changes. Unless I know something to be 100% concrete, I'm not going to talk about it. But today it was 100% yes. The boxes are here. The boxes are here. So I was quite happy about that. All right. Home stretch, guys. Home stretch. Woohoo! I think I should get up and do a little dance. All right. Got all the teeth in line. I did it. So this measures 6 millimeters. So that is 1/4 inch. The size here. And the tissue tape, I'm going to be really honest. I don't know if this particular tissue tape comes in a wider. I don't think it does. I think it's either 3 millimeter or 6. I don't think it comes in any other size. Let me see here. Because, yeah, the other one that's 1/4 inch is the red line adhesive, right? I actually, I'm not as proficient, I'm gonna say, with this adhesive, so I stick to the tissue tape. I just really like it, and I can't be hypocritical, right? So I have to tell you what I like. There may be other people out there that would say, oh no, you know, I like the red line, but that's, you know, that's not the case with me. So here, I'm now going to cover up all of those little teeth. Go ahead and go in there if there's any still that want to, for some reason, pop up. I'm going to apply, in fact, I'm going to switch bottles here, because this is kind of like, you know, a little bit much, right? I'm going to apply my adhesive all the way around here. And again, if you see anything lifting, then go ahead and apply a little bit of glue right underneath it, just in case. Push it back down. All right, when I think that it's all good, and there is, you know, I was generous. Now I get to cover it all up with the pretty paper. And you can cut this out more than once as well, depending on the weight, as I had said before. And you're going to find that you still have to do a little bit of bending and, you know, all that good stuff. But you have a moment or two to play around with this because of the fact that it's liquid adhesive now. I do not recommend that you try this with hot glue, by the way. I know there are some paper crafters that are all about the hot glue. For this type of construction, I would say no. Abstain from using the hot glue because it's got so many curves to it that you'll likely end up regretting it. Especially because of the fact that you're trying to walk this paper along a curve and convince the paper to stay there. All right, so another little tip, start at the tip of the little sock here and go toward the heel and then work your way up. I think that's going to be the better way to do this. Because I think this is only the second or third time that I'm making this particular box. So, you know, you practice, practice, practice. You get better as you go. Okay. So is there one little curve that maybe is a little more exposed than the rest? That's quite possible, but I wouldn't fret about it. Remember, this is going to be a little gift box, so what's inside is going to be probably more important. All right. So this paper is not 300 GSM. If it were, it would be a whole lot sturdier. But for the purpose of demonstration, I'm actually happy with that. I've got my little perimeter there. And now while that's drying, I can move on to the lid. And I did cut this out more because I just was in a cutting frenzy. All right. I want to make sure that I don't accidentally apply this on the wrong end. Okay. And the way that the little teeth are here, I'm going to have to apply them with the stocking facing up so I can make sure that this is still the lid, right? So I think I had done, did I apply adhesive? No, I didn't. All right. So this is where I want to apply my adhesive. For some reason, I thought I had done that already. No, I didn't. Okay. And by the way, I am going to cover the back of this, but because I want to do this construction first, I'm going to let that dry for a moment. Oh, hello. Thank you for being here, Vicky. I hope you're doing well, sweetie. I'm making yet another box. Vicky, did you get to work with the kit this month? I probably not. But I wanted to ask you, now that you're here, because I'm almost positive you worked with the gourds, if you happen to know how tall they are, because I know that tomorrow Jody's going to be showing them on the new channel that Tonic will be showcasing the projects on, the product, and that's going to be Hobby Craft. Now, here in the United States, if you're interested in watching that, you can watch it on YouTube. So what I can do is later on when I update this video, I can link that channel to the description bar of this video. If you want to watch Jody Johnson show the dies that I'm referring to, because that is a UK published video, sorry, then us US crafters didn't get to work on that, but I'm very much looking forward to them because I think they're so gorgeous. Okay, so here we are. Now our little teeth are facing the top. Okay, whereas before you saw me hold it like this, now I'm going to hold it in the other direction. I said that box was there. All right, so I'm going to take a peek at my other one. This is something that's personal preference, of course, but I really think that if you start one on one end, maybe you want to line that up with the other one as well. For some reason here, I got it dead on there. So I'm going to attempt to do that with this other one. It will matter to no one except for me, but here we go anyway. I'm gonna try to match the seams. Okay, I'm placing the little teeth on there, walking my way around. So Vicky says, I created the autumn boxes on Hobby Maker tomorrow. Sadly, I don't have any made up to measure. Oh, okay, but they are big. All right, awesome. Well, the I know that you could kind of when you put them away on your A4 magnet, Vicky, I'm pretty sure, did it take both? Well, I could assume it took the front and back of that magnet. That's how I kind of gauge the sizes of dies, is when I see the presentations and I see the magnet and I go, holy cow, like, you know, it took the whole front of that magnet, then I know, like, okay, that's going to be a biggie. All right, so here you see me again. I'm manipulating that paper. I'm not worried too much about this just yet because I want to anchor this first and then I can work my way back. All right. So instead of panicking like, oh, it's not sticking, I don't know what to do, just take a breath. Walk up to the little part that will stick for you. Hold on to the paper and then walk your way back. All right. And I hope that that helps. I know that I try to insert humor, but, you know, I am Hispanic and that's what we do. So don't take me too seriously. And I mean no offense when I make my little jokes here. Okay, so I'm pushing that curve onto the base paper. And I'm holding on to this as sturdy as I can underneath, just so you know, okay? I don't have any kind of magical skill set or anything like that. What I do have is tenacity. And if I could impart that to anyone else, I'd gladly give some, but I just say don't give up. Don't give up, don't give up. If you have to chuck it in the bin, do it and then start over again, but don't give up. If you have to come back later when you're a little bit more relaxed, do it. All right, so I'm removing the little liner. I'm gonna go down here a little bit where it's easier. Tack it down and work my way back to that curve. And it may not stick the first time around. That's, again, because this is dry adhesive. So you kind of have to give it a moment, right? But we're almost there. I'm gonna pull on that curve. Work my way back. And my fingers stick to the tape more than the paper, but I'm trying to work a little bit faster this time around. And you will find that actually this narrower strip will be faster application than the wider one, just because the paper will not be as heavy, of course. But be mindful of those little curves, especially if it has the tab there. You may find yourself having to apply a little bit more pressure. So I'm going to walk it, walk it, walk it. I'm going to lift that one a little bit. All right, here at the end, these two should meet. And it's looking like I need to pull on mine a little bit here. I was maybe a little generous on that curve. Or did I pick the wrong stocking size? I certainly hope not. Or no, that can't be possible. I don't think so. It's barely there, but I'm gonna make it work. Now the other times that I did this, that didn't happen. So I find that to be curious. I'm gonna make it work. So lots of sections like building. That's smart. Yes, that's not the first die set that, you know, that they've designed like that, I'm sure. At least from the ones that I've gotten. All right, so what I'm going to do is actually join this strip first, and then I'm going to work back to this little section. I'm trying, oh, the teacups. So yes, Missy, you will be able to order from Hobby Maker. And the one thing that I can say is I do believe, and I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe that the shipping starts at $15. 15 US dollars. So if you're willing to pay that amount of shipping, you know that the product will be coming directly from Tonic, regardless of the fact that you're shopping from Hobby Maker. But it might be worth it to you if, for instance, you're getting something a little bit earlier. If there's a particular event you have coming up, that sort of thing, then by all means, you can shop from Hobby Maker. And I don't know, because I've never shopped from them, if they have on screen like a US price versus UK price. And that I couldn't tell you. All right, so no such thing as perfection on this channel, as you guys know, but at least I'm consistent. Not at all perfect, but we're going to make this work now because we're going to put the other little piece on top to cover this, right? Now, you have to remember that this is not going to be able to dry the same way as it would if I were not doing a live video. In my other videos, what I do is that I allow my projects plenty of time to dry before I proceed. And I'm saying that because, I keep forgetting that I have my bottle right here. I'm saying that because this type of project, for instance, because there's all these folds and bends and all of that, I would let this rest underneath one of the die cutting plates, for instance, to allow it the opportunity to make that full contact before proceeding. Okay? And I'm going to be a little more generous with my glue. I'm not keeping that for posterity, and I'm going to walk this all the way around again. And then taking advantage of the fact that I can kind of push on that paper to get all those little tabs hidden if they were pulling away from me. And I'm not going to be concerned about how messy I'm being when I'm touching this adhesive for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's going to dry clear. Okay. And secondly, I can always cover it up with another piece of paper. But here, for instance, there's that little curve there. You may want to pull on it a little bit more. That sort of thing. Get it to the shape that you know it should be. Make sure it's made contact all the way around. And now you can flip that over and apply pressure. But for instance here, it's wanting to pull. Now I want to make sure that I push that back in there into my little sandwich. All right, so that's a place where I would hold on to it for a little bit longer. Try not to race through it. Same down here. Kind of did that a little bit faster than I should have. So I've got a little gap there, but guess what? I'm just going to hide that. I will just hide it. All right, so I'm going to apply pressure again. From the inside this time around. Now you may want to leave it to dry on top of the base. Maybe that's something you want to do to make sure that it retains its little shape there. Okay. Here I'm seeing a little bit of lift, so I'm going to supplement that. Because again, I didn't dry this underneath anything. If I were not doing a video, I would put a block right on top of that until it's fully dry, just so that the entire thing is nice and flat. Okay. I'm going to quickly wipe this here with me. So I got a little adhesive there on the surface. All right, so now we get to decorate this. And I did cut out that same paper to go all the way to the edge. And again, that's another little way that you can kind of, you know, there's always a fix to everything. So your craft kit envelope video. Oh, thank you so much for saying that. Missy, I really appreciate you telling me that. Because sometimes I make the videos and I like, I hope this helps. I try to be as transparent as possible and tell people, you know, this may take you 45 minutes, even though the video's only 20, or not 20, but, you know, 15 minutes or whatever. Just because depending on where you live, how much humidity is in the air, then the adhesive may not cooperate with you the first time around. Now, if you're the type of gal that likes to line everything 2 and 3 times, you can definitely decorate the inside of this. I would not advise you to do the inside of the edge or the sides. You know what I mean? Because if not, it will not fit properly on the base of that box. But here, you know, you get to see this will fit all the way around. And you kind of want to train it to do that, right? I think it's so cute. So now we've got that there. In an ideal world, as I said before, we would be letting this dry for a while today we're going to apply this on the base. And if you're doing these for an event or you want people to know how to contact you, stamp that before you place it on the base. Put your information on there. I'm the same way, Missy, and I think that's why I explain things the way that I do. Because that's the only way that I can learn. And it's funny because I think I'm not the only person on the design team that has said that, you know, we look at the instructions and you know, because it's a written instruction and it's not a step-by-step watching a person do it, then it just kind of goes out the window. But I think it's kind of funny. All right, so moving on here, I'm going to place my little stocking portion on here now. And I feel like I need a little bit more solid color here. Let me see if I can grab some shiny paper. Or maybe I can do that off camera. Yeah, just so I show you guys the construction of it. But I think I want to cut away this little portion here. Just so that gingham is kind of showing. But because I went with super busy papers. And I wish I had done this side instead. But that's okay. So you can cut off these little pieces. And then, of course, depending on how careful you are in cutting those, you can use them on a different box. Okay. I'm going to layer this right on top. I think it looks super cute like that. Gonna match it up here as best as I can. And then on here, of course, you can add some dimensional adhesive if you'd like to. I think that's what I want to do today. Just happen to have some. So I'm going to take advantage of that. So the next little thing that I'm going to show you, as soon as I'm done with this construction, is going to be the adorable box that will be with the newest craft kit. Because I just think it's so super cute, and you're going to be able to do a lot with it. Oh, no worries, Missy. Thank you so much for having been here. I truly appreciate it. And I pray that Ben does well. Keep me abreast of, you know, what's going on. But absolutely, safe travels to your appointments also, sweetie. So I'm going to just apply this right on top. And I think it's so cute. So cute. I think that little bit of dimension also helps. I think I'm there, right? Yep. I'm going to set those other extra pieces aside, and then now I'm going to take a peek at the little bow. I cut it out in white, and I'm going to very gingerly try to, you know, get this paper used to folding here. And I do think I want to use red line adhesive here, and I only need a tiny little portion of it, but that's because I want this to stick immediately. So you can't really see it, but it is on my scissors, and I'm just going to apply it here to fold that back to create the little loops on this bow. And of course this fancy paper might have a tendency to pull away a little bit more. I'm going to see how it looks if I try to double that. I've not done that yet, so I just wanted to see if it could be done. So again, I'm going to apply just a tiny little strip of red line adhesive there. This is very much like working with hot glue. I'm going to see with my fingers if that's enough of a fold there. We'll find out in a second. Nope, I should have used the tool. Started to crack. But then again, I probably should have used a lighter weight paper to begin with. Okay, there's that. Got my little bow pieces, and there's still the little tails. And I'm going to try to layer these. And that little red film, I don't know if anyone else has the issue that I have, which is that it never wants to separate from the actual adhesive. And I don't know what it is. I think it's maybe user error. Let me get my little pokey tool. Don't want to torture anyone. Come on, baby. Here we go. I got it. All right. I think I'm going to try to put this one on top. Again, because I'm just doubling it up. And then there's the little tail for the bottom. And there is another little strip. I did cut it. However, I am not seeing it. It does cut out with the die. I'm gonna see if instead I can, oopsie, I can apply maybe a piece of thread. Let's see here. Twine, that's the word I should be thinking about. Twine. Because I like, again, as I've mentioned before, I like to have a little bit of texture on everything. There's this red and white twine. So I'm going to place this back here and kind of twirl it around. And I'm going to place another piece of adhesive or tape right on there. Because this is double-sided, I'm hoping that I can kind of tack on that little loop or tail. We shall see. And then pull that back here and hold on to that. Cut away the excess. All right. And now I'm just going to apply this here. Make sure that all of my little strings are on there correctly. There's one little guy that wants to escape. Okay, here we go. Got my little bow on my stocking. I think it's so super cute. And then of course on here, you can go to town with your drops. You can add glitter drops, which I think would look super cute. So let me try this aside here. Yep, on the side. Oopsie. Sorry about that. I don't have a whole lot left in this particular bottle, so I didn't get a perfect line there, but there's always a way to fix that. So I'm just following the little stitching line there. And this will dry mostly clear, but it does have a little bit of glitter on there, which I think is worth using. So I'm just going to push that with the pokey tool to kind of get it to be a straighter little line there. And then up here, there's these little spots, in fact, that look like little berries. And I think they'll pop out, most of them anyway. They did cut out of the paper, but for some reason they wanted to stay there. Can kind of push them away if you want to. But in any case, I'm just going to go ahead and drop a little bit of Nuvo in there. Make that nice and shiny and cute. And these as well. And then there's the ones down here with the little leaves also. But that completes this little box. I think it's super cute. I don't think it's too complicated. I would just say that you do want to take your time. Don't rush through it and allow your papers to dry in between, and you'll get a really cute result. And what I'll do is that I'll try to reinforce this little portion here. But in any case, this is the little stocking, just like this one. It's just a different version. Then there's the candy cane, which I'm sure you guys have all seen, and the little cookie, super adorable. And thank you so much, Sharon. And then also the kit, which is the newest release. Well, you got the preview yesterday. This will start shipping on the first working day of next month. So for that, I would say if you want to use the colors in the kit, then of course you're going to be able to make these adorable little flowers. In my tutorial video, what I shared was that of course you can color the papers not only with the items included, but you can definitely take advantage of any mousses you may already have. And that's what I did for these little flowers here. I did color the centers, and I also used little drops on the centers of some of the flowers. I love that little piece that you can quill and make it more into a little starburst shape. That was one of my favorite parts of that particular kit. And let's see what else. The 3D embossing, I think, is just genius. I'm so happy that Tonic decided to bring that to the kits. I love the way that that looks on paper. As I've said before, texture is just so amazing that you can do that with a piece of paper. And it just elevates your projects, I think. It makes them look super rich. The little pick here, if you happen to have any of the other little, like the fairy house dies or anything like that, take a look at what else is there. Because if you like this sort of thing, if you like the little miniature look, then I think you're going to enjoy mixing and matching those things. Oh, thank you, Sharon. Well, for this was all done with the kit, with the exception of the vellum. I did color that. In fact, let me mention which mousse I used. I used lilac lavender because I knew that it was going to match the papers. So that's what's so wonderful, for instance, about the Nuvo range, is that you don't have to guess. You know, if there's a color in the paper, you're going to find it in the Nuvo products. And that goes for the drops, the mousse, the sprays. And this, I also did spray with one of these golden sprays that I always keep them on my desk. The Mica Mist. Mica Mist, or Mist, however you pronounce that. Let's see, it may have been this one, because I keep a couple of these on my table. This one's Aspen Gold. It may have been this one. But I like to just kind of flick that onto the paper, and wherever it drops, that tiny bit of shine I think is spectacular on any kind of paper. But yeah, this is a super, super cute little kit. And of course you can fill that with little goodies in there. Maybe some jewelry, anything like that. It's such an adorable presentation. And of course, for instance, if you're visiting someone who's ill in a hospital and you cannot bring them real flowers anymore because they won't allow it, then I think these are the perfect substitute for that, because you're not going to get yelled at and you'll make someone's day brighter. So yeah, and then in the US, of course, if you've not subscribed to this kit, if you're interested in a one-off purchase, once the subscriptions are filled, the one-off purchase, if there's enough kits, of course, it'll show on there, and you can purchase a one-off kit if you prefer that. But the hat box is still available in the US. I cannot believe it. I thought this was going to disappear from the US just as much as it did from the UK. But when I tell you that this is one of my favorite 3D projects of the year, I really am being sincere when I say that. The bow is just amazing. Look at the height on that. The fact that you can make it with whichever paper combination you like. Of course, I can, make it more playful and use the same papers I just used today for the little stocking. But for instance, if you're doing a group gift for a hostess, maybe you're going to a Christmas party and there are children in the family and you just want to give them a little something to say thank you, you can mix and match these sort of things where maybe the parents get one box and maybe the children get another. I love things like that. I think it makes such a wonderful presentation. It shows people that you appreciate them. And so that's what I love about paper crafting, is that you can make something really, really just personalized for whoever it is that you're making the gift for. And it makes it all the more special. So I do hope, however, that you guys have enjoyed this video tutorial. I do encourage you to take a peek at what's available. There's going to be different changes this week on the website. There's a change of the UK broadcasting channel. And as far as this channel, I will continue to try to bring you content that is meant to inspire you to use the items that you may already have in combination with anything that's new. As far as the live videos, I don't have a set schedule. It's just because of my life. I have to be honest. But you guys are always welcome here. I do hope that you do feel welcome and that this is not intimidating. If it is, I'm more than happy to help. Shoot me a message. I try to respond to absolutely every single one of them. I know that there's differences in times for people. Like I've got friends in Germany and in the UK, here in the United States. It doesn't really matter. You'd be surprised at the times that I'm sometimes able to respond. But my aim, of course, is to tell you that I hope that you can be inspired and be blessed. I thank you so much for having been here with me today, and I hope to see you in my next video. Ciao, ciao. Thanks again, guys.